Is film photography blowing up? Is it more popular than it was before? Maybe. Alright, what's good, y'all? It's Steve-O. Today we're outside. I got the 35 millimeter with me, and I got a question for y'all. Do you think 35 millimeter is blowing up? Has it been blowing up? I mean, it's barely my first year into it. I got put onto it by a friend. Um, I love 35 millimeter. My take on it so far, 35 millimeter is honestly the funnest. Is the most fun I've ever had shooting pictures in general. I mean, I used to have a camera back in, I want to say middle school, but then it broke. It was a camcorder. I forgot what it was. That was my first camcorder ever. I always wanted a camcorder. I always wanted a cool camera because I love cameras in general. I've always wanted to work with them. Now I have my Canon M50, which I'm pretty grateful for and fortunate enough to have. Got the 35 millimeter with me. It's the Canon AE1 with the 50 millimeter lens. Right now I have Ektar 100 in here. I haven't even been shooting it. I've had this film in here for about, I want to say 4 months now. I've had this film in here for 4 months, and I know, hey, why is it taking me so long to shoot it? Honestly, it's because I haven't really gone anywhere. And hey, my camera had died, so I had to recharge it. So I'm back. But yeah, I haven't shot the rest of this film in about 4 months. And yeah, why is it taking me so long? It's because I haven't really gone anywhere interesting in a while. Well, everywhere is interesting. It's just I've already taken pictures of the spots I've been to already. So I kind of want to switch it up a bit. You know, I mean, don't get me wrong, this thing is fun. This thing is fun to shoot. Like, when you're shooting with this, it honestly feels like a different experience. And it's something you could definitely appreciate because you're taking so much time to shoot a film. You want the best exposure as possible. You know, when you're a noob, you don't really know what you're doing. I didn't really use this camera, the one that I'm recording with right now, my M50. I didn't really use it before, but now I started getting into it. I started learning what an aperture was, shutter speed was, ISO, you know, the basics. That's all you really need, just practice the basics and get creative with whatever you're trying to do. And you learn about film stocks. You have to do everything as manual. Everything is manual on this camera. This camera is analog, so what that means is everything is manual. You got to do everything manually. So here's the shutter speed. You got the aperture on the lens. This is how you set the aperture. This is how you use the focus ring. This one has an ND filter on it. I mean, not an ND filter. This one has a Pro Mist filter on it. So it kind of makes your photos look a little bit more softer in a way. That's how I see it. I don't know. Hey, don't chew me up, photographers. Just do what you do, bro. So this is where you set your ISO, which is gonna stay at 1 ISO number the whole time because your box speed is gonna determine what ISO you use. And this is the program AE1. Man, this one is the program AE1. It has aperture priority, but honestly, I don't really use it as much. I usually go for manual. I do it whenever I'm like on the fast run. You know, like if I have a couple shots left, maybe like 3 or 4, and I'm like, I kind of want to just get it over with. I just put that on, go out, shoot, easy. So simple. And then whenever someone else wants to use it or take a shot, I just let them use aperture priority, and let the camera do the work for you. But since I like to practice with manual, this is fun. Like, honestly, I gotta say, this gives you just look at it. It's just a dope looking camera too. Look at it. It's really dope. It's heavy. It feels like an authentic piece of photo. I don't fucking know. It just feels like shit. This is dope. Like even holding it feels great, man. Metal. It's made out of metal. This thing is made out of metal. It has glass in here. This is all like metal and shit. Perks of having an analog camera. Well, the perks are you really put yourself into how this works, how shutter speed, aperture, and ISO work together. You really start to figure it out. You have to practice. You have to mess up a lot. I've wasted a lot of film on pictures that I didn't think were good. I've also learned a lot. I got better. Some were bad, some were worse. Sometimes I just need to learn how to edit better now. You can learn all those things from using a digital camera. There's nothing wrong with digital cameras. You use what you use, because if you can use this and that, then it's totally cool, bro. Like, I fucking love this camera though, not gonna lie. Like, this camera is really dope. Pros to having an analog camera. Honestly, I love using this analog camera because, first of all, look at this fucking body and lens and glass. It's just snazzy, bro. That looks clean. Besides that though, that's not what matters. What matters is the fucking quality you get. It all depends on you, really. If you're like a noob, it's totally normal, because I'm still a noob, bro. Like I'm still a noob. I'm teaching myself how to use everything by myself. Like, fuck. But I love it though. That's what the thing is. You have so much learning to do when it comes to using analog cameras. You have a lot of learning to do and understanding, and what aperture is, shutter speed, how to crank it, how to load it, setting the ISO, box speeds, filters, lenses, focal lengths, everything, just stuff like that. And it's really exciting to me. So those are the pros to having an analog camera. Also, you get warm colors. But with the pros, you know, there's always cons. And the cons for having an analog camera is, of course, you can't see the photos that you take at that time. You have to get them processed. And whether you know how to process or you don't, you're gonna have to pay for the chemicals, for the scans, and that's it. Yeah, basically, the scanning and the processing. That's it. Just the processing. And what else? Another con would be buying film. But honestly, I like buying film. I don't know why. I just like having cartridges. Let me show you one. This one's a little beat up. So yeah, this one's beat up. But this is a black and white film. It's 400 TX. That's a 400 ISO speed. So I would have to put that at a 400 ISO box speed right here. See those little numbers? I would just change it. And then from there on, you leave it at that. Base everything around your shutter speed and aperture, which I would recommend setting your aperture first and then your shutter speed.